sit over there. We got to run out and get something from his car for the meeting. Give us 1 minute, apologize. Be quiet, we're back talking. Seneca calls town board meeting to order. This time with the town clerk take roll call.
Supervisor Schmitter?
Here.
Councilman Seneca?
Yeah, I'm here.
Councilman Pilara?
Here.
Councilwoman Dyson? Here. Councilwoman Laskowski? Here.
Okay, let's rise for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please have a seat. Thank you. Okay, we had two petitioners this evening with Bill Tegal. Is he here? Mark Bitterford.
Pass those around. Oh, here we go.
Good evening, Supervisor Schmitter and members of the Seneca Falls Town Board. My name is Mark Pittifer, and I'm here speaking on behalf of Bill Lutz and the Waterloo Container Company. Unfortunately, I'm here regarding the persistent noxious gases and odors emanating from the Seneca Meadows landfill. Last month, we've been contacted by and made aware of businesses, teachers, schools, students, and citizens that have consistently reported odor time and time again, and how it's negatively affected their way of life. At Waterloo Container, it's no different. The odor remains an issue for our employees, as several have made complaints and expressed concerns on days in which odor from Seneca Meadows is present at our workplace. And the DEC has been contacted. The situation, however, is out of control. Absolutely out of control. It is clear beyond any doubt that there is an odor problem, and it's been proven. The largest landfill in New York State is unable to contain, let alone mitigate, the problems they create. Again, we ask this board, please hold Seneca Meadows accountable and strictly enforce our town codes. You may have all recently read a headline that the draft environmental impact statement timeline has been extended by 90 days by the DEC, which is still only in draft mode. The final draft environmental impact statement is nowhere near complete. This alone highlights the complexities of the proposed expansion and the potential for serious adverse health and environmental consequences for the community. We are all weary of living with the uncertainties surrounding the air we breathe and the water we drink. And it's our responsibility to protect our community, especially our children. We need to think of our children. And to ensure that there's a safe and healthy future for all our residents in Seneca Falls. Please, to every member of this board, prioritize these concerns in any discussions related to the landfill or its future. I've handed you all a study just now, done at over a 12-year period of time by the International Journal of Epidemiology, a nationally recognized and accredited organization, which concluded that a study of mortality rates of populations which live near landfills. The study concluded that there was a direct association between H2S exposure, the gas which we discussed in our last meeting, which was detected at Waterloo Container 52 times in the month of August, at or above irritant-causing thresholds. The study I just handed you, the 12-year study, with several dozen sources, said there's a direct association between living near a landfill and developing respiratory issues. But most importantly, the fact that you're more likely living near a landfill to develop respiratory issues that result in hospitalization or respiratory issues that result in lung cancer. There was a direct correlation between living within 5 square miles of an active landfill. So I ask a simple question to the board members. Do we have to keep showing the board this data? Study after study. It's been reported and verified that even if landfill revenue were to cease tomorrow, we've all heard about $3 million a year. But if the revenue stopped flowing tomorrow, the town still has sufficient resources through reserves to budget for decades without increasing taxes. This has been reported on. This financial stability underscores the need for us to adapt and change with the times. Given what we now know, it's very difficult for any of you to justify any actions that could potentially jeopardize health, safety, and the well-being of our residents. Despite previous campaigns and glossy mailers, there is no legitimate reason to pursue any permits or agreements that might compromise our community's welfare with the promise of taxes going up 700%. It's obnoxious. With such decisions comes accountability, and we must prioritize the best interests of our town and its residents moving forward. From a health perspective, any future with this landfill is unthinkable, and we, your residents, deserve better. Thank you.
Mark, I just have one question. Why do you have to bring up of elections and flyers, why?
The flyers particularly said that we needed landfill revenue. The flyers that were promoted by an out-of-state entity. We're not referring to anyone's specific campaign flyers on this board.
Okay, just checking, thank you.
Yep.
Is Bill McHale, did he show up? Okay, so at this time I'll open up privilege of the floor. Does anybody like to speak? Mr. Capozzi?
So, you're going to go on with public hearing later, because I have two things to say. One for the
Oh,
public
that's
hearing.
right. So at this time, we were supposed to have a public hearing at 6 o'clock, reference to the formation of Public Works Department. Does anybody like to speak on that public hearing? Yes.
And then I'd like someone else to say also.
Okay.
This is a public hearing then?
Yes. Yeah.
That should be opened by a resolution, be a voted on resolution. To open it.
Motion
So we have a motion here to open up the public hearing for the Department of Public Works.
I'll make the motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
My name is Greg Luzaro. I have been a resident of this town since 1987. Thank you for holding this public meeting. I wish to speak in favor of the town's proposal in creating a public works department. My only concern is that you want to hold this matter until the union is formed. A change in structure should have employee input, and a union would be of great benefit in this matter. Thank you for your time.
Anybody else like to speak about the public hearing? Okay, at this time, the public hearing will be closed.
Make a motion to close the public hearing. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So carried. Privilege of the floor, Mr. Capozzi. Sorry. I thought you were done, Greg, but I'll get you back up there next. Sorry.
Good evening, Supervisor Schmitter and the board members. The reason why I'm here tonight is because I've been reading quite a bit of information and also talking to people about the possibility of acquiring the hospital, the old hospital building, and what you already own, the professional building, and some ideas of moving some of the pool from Vince's Park and putting it down there, and other ideas. And I don't know if it's economically physically responsible at this time or can be done, but I'll tell you, it's something that should be done. Okay? This village really needs a boost in that downtown lower area. It'll spur the economy. People will come, use the facilities that are brought down there, and then filter uptown, and go to the restaurants and different businesses that are open during the evening and also during the day. So I applaud you for looking at a plan. I don't know how the plan is going to be developed, how it's going to be implemented, or even if it can. But I applaud you for at least taking a good hard look at it. Something must be done with that area of Seneca Falls. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Greg, you can come back up, please.
Good evening. Again, my name is Greg Luzaro, and I've been a resident of Seneca Falls since 1987. Your work on this town board is appreciated, and from my experience, it is not an easy task, and I thank each and every one of you for your service. 2 months ago, this board voted to move a resolution to recognize the employee petition to form a union. It is important that this action is not delayed. Delays will just waste tax money on labor attorney fees when CSEA has a process for implementation. CSEA has a long history of assisting and organizing towns in unionization of employees. Again, why spend money on labor attorneys when CSEA has the expertise and is ready to move Seneca Falls forward? In the long run, unionization will save the town money in terms of maintaining a productive workforce and improving the health and safety of the town and its workforce through its many education and training programs. The benefits of a union are many. Some of them are: 1, town and workplace will be a healthy and safe environment. 2, ensuring a competent and long-term workforce. 3, adversarial relationships will become a thing of the past among management and employees. And number 4, Seneca Falls will work because unions work. Please start this process now, and you will quickly find that labor and management are on the same team. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Greg. Is there anyone else like privilege on the floor?
Thank you. Evening. To the October Town Board. I'd like to add on to Mr. Pettifer's comments a bit. I saw him talking last month, and I'm thinking, there's some things that probably should be discussed, such as testing the air for H2S. I noticed he was all by himself up here with one monitor talking about it. My thoughts are, well, let me go down my speech. H2S is heavier than normal air. I suggest the town invest in a third party to monitor the environment for this, not just town do it, not just landfill do it, and everybody, as we see it, can end up squabbling back and forth. Just complaining or having a landfill take responsibility does no good, as we have seen. Also, having one source is not enough. We get approximately $3 million a year from them, and at least some of that should be used to test and prove to the DEC that this problem exists. They cannot ignore science. We're getting science shoved down our throats now as it is. In my experience, there is the EPA has a website that I read. August 7th, 2024 has an article discussing, and I quote, allowing users to plot their air quality data and view it alongside with EPA monitors, public air sensors, meteorological stations, and satellites. Personally, I have always felt that was a pretty good resource. You can get the EPA's own language. If you can use their language, should be a good thing. Personally, I have always felt that the source of pollution starts with the dump trucks that come and already smell. What do you think is going to happen from there? Then parked at Walmarts, sometimes it's like a slap in the face to walk outside the store. They park there and you can see this, and it's like in the middle of a pile. It's so overwhelming. Ignore this problem and it will never go away. And guess what happens when they dump their smelly loads at the top of the hill? That's the source of all this pollution. And then we holler at the landfill and they don't want to hear it. Materials that these trucks haul should be composted before they travel. They should be in the contract, that should be in the contract with the landfill. That when something gets there, well, first off, it's not radioactive, as happened. The trucks should not assume they can spread their pollution all over the place. Obviously, wind patterns, volume, direction, and percentage humidity should all be monitored and published 24/7. I understand the methane is already tracked by satellite. Thank you, Dan Bannon. Just my thoughts. Thought I'd add to it. Just what you need more paperwork done. Sure. You might.
Thank you.
Anybody else like privilege on the floor? Yes, please go state your name.
Hi, good evening. My name is Pam Farrar. I'm the local treasurer of Seneca County Local 850. A majority of the town workers want CSEA, and we support them. I urge you to stop delaying and wasting valuable resources on unnecessary legal fees. Like the CSE members that I represent and the 250,000 CSE members across the state of New York, workers here deserve the stability that comes with being part of a union. Town workers are organizing because they want to be a well-equipped workforce that meets the needs of the local community. Please stop wasting taxpayer dollars on high-priced attorneys and recognize the Town Workers Union. This delay is wasteful and unnecessary. Thank you.
Anyone else for privilege of the floor? Yes.
Good evening, members of the town board. My name is Catherine Lasher. I'm part of the SCA 850s. And I was born and raised right here in Seneca Falls, Cornhill. And after college, I have returned to the area and now have Seneca Falls address. I am concerned that there was a resolution passed and yet there has been no action to uphold it. Why are workers having to file a petition with the Public Employment Relations Board when you agreed to voluntary recognition through their union? What is the point of going through an expensive, long and drawn-out process when this could have been settled months ago? The employees want to have a union. I am concerned for their safety. I'm concerned about the safety of the citizens in this town. If they are not able to work in a safe environment, they are not able to do a good job, which also causes more safety issues for the citizens, as well as when something's messed up, it's got to be fixed. So that's more money being put into it. When all we have to do is abide by what was voted on, what was said to be upheld, and continue on with this instead of spending a lot of money that a lot of people around here just do not have. Thank you for listening to me and giving me the opportunity to speak tonight.
Anyone else for privilege of the floor? Yes.
Good evening, members of the town board. My name is Ian Spencer. I am president of CSEA Judiciary Local 334. I represent 1,500 employees across the central part of New York State, many of whom live and work here in Seneca County and the town of Seneca Falls. I'm here to just let you know that I understand the process. I've been elected by 1,500 people in my local to represent them to the best of my ability. When we pass resolutions, we recognize those resolutions. When we negotiate contracts, we recognize those contracts. I find it deplorable that a town board can pass a resolution and two individuals can block that resolution. These workers deserve this union. This union will solve issues in this town. This union will set parameters for management and employees in this town. I urge you to reconsider. I understand there's been attorneys hired. It's wasteful. It's wasteful when, in the end, PERB will rule that they're permitted to form their union. It's New York State law, and they're well within their rights. Thank you. Have a good
Can I
night.
ask you a question?
Yes.
Why would the union not give us the titles so we can know who could be in the union?
That's a question for an attorney that is
Thank you.
representing this union.
That's
But the employees that work for you have asked you to recognize, you did recognize, and then you changed course.
No one changed course. We need the titles. That's all we asked for.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Anyone else for privilege of the floor? Okay, at this time, we're closing the privilege of the floor. I do have one letter that I received that asked me to please read at the meeting. It's Dear Supervisor Schmitter and members of the board, I am ready to request the board vote no to accept an MOU between the town of Seneca Falls and SMI, and to vote no to granting SMI a new operating permit. SMI is operating in violation of the town code by continuing to spew noxious odors and poisonous gas into our community. The health of the people of Seneca Falls is not for sale. The board votes to accept the MOU. You as members of the board are in fact in violation of breaking town code by allowing SMI to continue to operate while ignoring town codes related to odors. As well as your participation in breaking the law, you are ignoring citizens' concerns and complaints regarding the consistent and obnoxious odors. Before accepting the proposed MOU, I suggest you give serious thought to the precedents you are setting as board members by allowing SMI to continue to disregard town code in exchange for money. Once again, the health of the people of Seneca Falls is not for sale, and more importantly, is not yours to sell. Sincerely, Dominican Catalano. I have a motion to accept the approval of the minutes from the September 2nd meeting.
Make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. I have communications 1 through 8. I have a motion to accept the communications.
Make a motion.
A second.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just have one discussion in reference to the complaint form that was submitted by Joanne Myers.
Yeah.
What are we gonna be doing about it? I mean, it's a valid point in
Yeah.
reference to it's not truly accessible, handicap accessible.
We did talk about this before. We tried to pass a resolution and it got hung up, so we should definitely address it again. What it is, people, is you obviously don't know, someone wants us to get handicap accessible doors out there. And it is something we did look into probably back in March. And I think we should definitely look into it again.
When did we look into this before? If I recall, it was safety glass.
Right, and that was part of it when we were talking about using ARPA funds, and then there was a big discussion came over where the ARPA funds spent and this and that, and then it never got pushed along.
But the ARPA funds were gone. We
Right.
spent them already.
Right, but at the meeting, that was the big topic, and we got off track about doing this, so we can definitely look back into it. I agree we should have it. It was my idea to start with, so.
Of course, it was your idea. So, yeah, let's look back into it.
So, do we have a buildings committee that can look into it, see if it's feasible?
I guess I'll be here, give it then.
Okay.
I will work with on it starting tomorrow.
All right, I have a question too.
Go ahead.
I was wondering if we got the bid by September 30th on the generator.
Okay.
Where,
I'll bring it up later. I was going to bring it up later. So there was well, Lisa might explain it better. There was a hang up with one of the things. So we're going to try to approve it at the October. We're going to have a special meeting when we do our budget workshop ahead of time to accept the generator. Because we have to accept it within so many days or it's going to turn out. But I'll mention it again.
Is that part of the communications? What are we talking about?
the generator, and we bid to, there was money in the budget for the generator down at the sewage treatment plant. So the bids went out, they were due on the 20th. They got the bids, we were supposed to get a response from the engineers by the 30th of September. So I didn't see anything, so I'm asking, what was the lowest bid? How many bids were, there were 3 bids, I know that.
Right. And Lisa has been in contact with me, so the engineers have done their job. It's just going to be pushed out to that special meeting in September, November. Or, I'm sorry, October 10th.
Okay. All right, let me see if I got anything else. No.
Did we?
No, I'm good. I just wanted to know about the generator.
Discussion.
Okay, so all in favor of accepting the communications, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, we have a motion here for, It's a Wonderful Life thing, special permit. It's not going to have to be tabled.
I'll make a
More work
motion.
that has to be done, so,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, this hasn't been signed off by the police, and they have to get their DC permit and stuff,
So we'll table it till next month?
so, yes.
I'll make a motion that we table it.
I'll second.
I just wanted to be sure. I put it on next
Yeah.
month,
They've been informed on what the deficiencies are, right?
Yeah,
They have, okay.
yeah, they're working with Missy on it today, they just weren't able to get it all together. Okay, so this is where I do a little bit about what is going on. So bids are due in on 10/9 for the North Canal side enhancement. That's the DRI project. So we're looking to get stuff done there. So hopefully we'll get some good bids and get that project going. So there's one thing too, about a month or two ago, this is the Seneca County Health and Neighborhood Program. It's a county program. It's funded by the state. It's for people to help people out. So if you know someone that needs like cleaning supplies or smoke detectors or something at their house, it's on our website. We posted it on there. They can get, it's all free. Seneca Falls wasn't allowed to be in it until about 2 months ago. They changed it and they added us into it. Before it was just other towns. So we've been added to that. So if you know anybody that needs anything, repairs or something at their house, it's worth looking into that program. Last month we passed that resolution to go after the water bills that weren't being paid. We have collected, out of the 7, we collected 17,564, and the other 13,000 will be paid at the end of this month. We only had to shut off one person's house at this time, and they have been in contact with us, so we're hoping to get that straightened out. The WIA grant has been accepted. We're in the process of trying to choose an engineer firm to start moving the project. That's a grant that we received to work on water. And the money we had to match, we got 0 bond for that. So I also work with the engineers on Miller Street. Everybody knows we have flooding there. They're coming up with a project of putting drainage behind now the houses on the south side of the street to stop the flooding there and connect it into Walnut Street. So it's not as big a project as we thought because we don't have to go across 5 and 20 or into the canal. It seems like all the heights are going to work. We were concerned that the pipes were too low and they wouldn't be able to do it. But that's where we're coming into that public work. If we can get that formed, I think we can get this project done this year and stop those people from having the flooding issues they have. And once again, I'm proposing this park idea downtown. So some of the stuff that I think the park could do for us is we put a pavilion down there, possibly some pickleball courts, basketball courts, a winter ice skating rink, walking path to the outside with possible connections to the Ludovic Trail for downtown. And part of our comprehensive plan, where it says action plan 135, it says the town needs to explore opportunities to expand year-round recreation spaces and programming. Example, sporting complex with an ice rink and stuff like that. I don't think we're at the point where we could put an enclosed rink. It would be way too expensive, but we could even just put a rink down there and stuff for kids to use and families to use in the winter is what we're looking at. So tonight I have a resolution in the package I'm hoping the board will approve just to start a feasible study on it. It's not to say we're going to go ahead and do it, but to see if we can afford it. And there's a lot of state grants out there. I've been in contact with Schumer's office about it. We've been working with our grant writers for grants out there for it. And so there's state aid, grants, and other ways we can get this project done. Announcing that budget workshops will start next Thursday, October 10th will be the first one at 5 o'clock. Then we'll have one Thursday, October 17th at 5 o'clock. And if necessary, we'll have one Thursday, October 24th at 5 o'clock. They'll be held right here. They're open to the public. Everyone's welcome to come and attend it. On that, back to the generator. We're going to have a special meeting on October 10th at 5 o'clock to accept the generator bids. So that'll be just before the workshop starts. We'll have that. So our board meeting will stay. I know next Tuesday, November 5th is election day, but we'll still have our board meeting that night. Okay.
So everybody got a little packet with your agenda. There is the budget workshop in there. just changed the date on the last one from the 6th to the 5th. So it's not going to be the 6th, it will be the 5th,
Not the budget workshop, the meeting,
that meeting.
yeah. The budget workshops are going to be the 10th,
It'll be the
17th,
5th.
20th.
It will be the
No, with a
5th.
public hearing, I thought.
It's both.
Public hearings at the time.
There's plenty of, there's more.
So we're doing it on a holiday.
On election.
Election, yeah.
So we don't want employees, we don't want to play in overtime, but we want them, but we want to work on it. Okay, that doesn't make sense. All right.
All right, under old business, we have a resolution for the Seneca Museum Waterway Industrial Repairs. I think Jackson gave us
Yes.
an amendment to this thing here.
Yeah, so there'll be a slight amendment. The original amount of $23,178.54 is going to lower down to $18,913.54. And that is because we discovered that the DRI portion that they can't use for the deck anymore can cover the flushing toilets that were in here. So might as well let the state pay for that. So that's that. So it includes everything but flushing toilets at this point.
And the grant covers how much?
It covers, I believe it is $9,979, yeah.
Nice, okay, perfect. And then next year is going to be the 25th anniversary, was it?
Yes, 125, or 100, or it's either 100 or 125 year anniversary of the Erie Canal being built. So
Okay.
they do expect a bunch of extra people
A
going
lot
up and
of,
down the
yeah, so
canal.
we're gonna have to get this done before then to ensure that it'll be, all right.
Yeah,
perfect.
that'd be ideal.
All right. Thank you for getting this done and pushing it there, appreciate
Of
it.
course. Big thanks to Andrew, the museum director.
Yeah,
He's been a huge help. He's a great guy, so. Yeah, that's my
So we
news.
have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
A second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. New business. The resolution authorizing the award of water and wastewater treatment chemical supplier. Have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Let me, look at something here. This is for the, this doesn't include the testing, right? That's another resolution.
Right, this is,
Okay, all right, okay, sorry. I'm good.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. I have a resolution authorizing award of chemical box storage tank improvements. Have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion?
I have some questions. Okay, does anybody know what the current tank is made of? What kind of material is the tank made of? Is it made out of steel, concrete?
Right, it's made of, high-density linear polyethylene.
That's plastic, right? For us, laymen,
Yeah.
plastic.
So
Okay, wait a minute. How many gallons does it hold, you know?
there are 3 tanks, and let's see, I don't have.
1,900 each.
Oh, thanks, Ryan.
How many gallons?
1,900 gallons in each.
For the,
so each 3 tanks.
each, okay.
Correct.
So almost 6,000,
Yep.
5,700,
Yes.
okay. What chemicals are stored in those tanks?
Got that one, Ryan. You beat me.
Aluminum sulfate.
Aluminum sulfate?
Yep, and then.
Okay. So, what, can you highlight what the improvements are gonna be? I mean, are those, okay, they're plastic, are there holes in them, are they leaking?
There is some leaking, the monitoring system is off, and the big improvement is that there's no containment. So if you remember at the water plant a few years ago, we coated that chemical storage room. we would need to do something similar here in order for it to pass the SBR report. It was completed in 2020, and it's an inspection that's done every 5 years. The 2020 report said that it would not pass the 2020, it would not pass the next inspection.
So
it
it's
needs to
not,
be done.
it's not that the tanks aren't gonna pass. There's a containment area that needs to be built.
So in order to build the containment area, the tanks would need to be lifted. And in the initial study, I believe it was reviewed that it would be more economical to just replace the tanks rather than taking the roof off, lifting those tanks, building underneath it, and then putting the tanks back on. But I can follow up and get you that specific information.
Okay, and I'd like to amend the resolution, if anybody will second it, instead of cost not to exceed 30,000, because it doesn't sound that complicated, change it to 20,000. And find somebody that will do it for the engineering for $20,000. I'm not willing to spend $30,000.
$20,000?
What's that?
How are you arbitrarily just pulling up
Well,
$20,000?
you know what? It's just like buying a car. I don't think it's worth that much, you know, so I'm thinking, for me, the engineering fees, I think are only worth 20,000. And if
But
we
they're
can
the
find
ones that
somebody
we
to do it.
hired to do the research to determine what the cost is.
Well, that's my amendment to the resolution. If I don't get a second, that's fine.
I'm not gonna second it.
I'll just vote no on the resolution. I think it's too much money to pay for engineering fees. That's just my opinion. So I make a motion that we reduce the 30 to 20.
What is actually the engineer entail there? I mean, if you're buying plastic tanks.
So this would be the entire design, all the way through, so we would bring this up to bidding out. So it would be designing the whole new coding system, preparing the specification books, preparing the detailed drawings, speaking with vendors on what the necessary tanks would need to be, the monitoring system. The reason for the not to exceed is that it is an estimate. If we only spend $15,000 engineering, that's all we're gonna be charging the town. So we could, you know, keep you in the loop with that.
So my estimate, Caitlin, is no different than theirs. They arbitrarily picked the number of 30,000.
Well, that's based on
They're telling you it can be less.
Can you let her finish?
Okay, but I'm
Thank
just
you.
telling you,
Let her
my
finish.
arbitrary number is just as valid. Go ahead.
No, it's not, because let her finish, because she had an explanation. But
It is based on prior design work of similar types of projects. That's where we came up with the 30,000, but the reason for the not to exceed is so that we're only charging you for the work that we're actually putting into this. If it comes in less, we'll be charged up to what is meant.
so it's not arbitrary.
All right, so we have a motion to lower to 20,000. Anyone going to second that? That's that. So we have a motion to accept the one as written at 30,000.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
No.
All opposed?
No.
I have a resolution here to replace the Ford F-350 truck bed for the rec center.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Got a resolution to repair the striker salt spreader for the rec center.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. A resolution, community center atrium floor installation.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Hold on, there. I'm out of order. I don't know how.
What about the carpet? Did the carpet?
No, it's next.
Yeah, I don't know how out of order. Okay. Who motioned? Sorry. Okay, just-
I made the motion.
Thank you.
Jackson second.
Thank you.
Of a resolution, the community center office carpet installation.
I make the motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Got a resolution for replacement of a memorial bench.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Discussion.
I'd just like to say that this isn't costing the town anything, it's being donated. So thank you, Missy, for working on that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I have a resolution for a transfer of money when the highway superintendent was made aware of his budget line. Deficit, and he wants to transfer $8,000.
Make a motion.
Second.
Discussion.
I was wondering if we could make it, like, Jeremy wasn't aware of the bills, and the money, before we put the bills over, we should transfer the money over, just so it's really not his fault that his was negative, because the bills went over before the money did. So we need to move the money before we put bills in his budget.
I'll talk to Tracy about it tomorrow. You all in favor of that? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Got a resolution for water leak and pool credits.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. I have a resolution for a SCADA system integration professional service agreement. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, I think I got some questions on that. We're going to this person because our other people have gone out of business, right?
Essentially, they lost their accreditation on this too.
Okay.
So I sent an email that wasn't responded to. So why is James getting these quotes? For the sewer
Water
department. Sewer department. This is for sewer. His names are associated with the
Well,
sewer.
so he works for Joe, and so he does what he can to help Joe out.
He shouldn't have affiliation with the sewer. He's not licensed through the sewer.
You don't have to have a license to get a bid.
He doesn't work within the sewer.
He works for the town. This is all part of the town. I don't understand why that would be a concern.
Why do you think?
I have no idea.
You do know why.
So, any more discussion?
I think Jim does have a type 2A sewer license. He had the.
No, he doesn't.
No, he lost the 3A.
He lost his license.
He lost the 3A.
So he has his water license.
But he still has the 3A.
Joe, it's Joe's responsibility. Joe is the chief, it is his responsibility,
I'm
as
not saying
other
his
department heads,
responsibility.
to get these quotes. Not James's responsibility. It's Joe's.
He delegates his authority, that's, I'm fine with
Joe's
that.
responsibility
He
is
can
more so to
delegate, that's
get
what a
these.
good supervisor
He's the,
does.
he's the,
No, that's not how it works.
it is how it works.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Have a resolution for water and sewer budget transfer. Have a motion?
Make a motion.
A second?
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I have some questions on this, obviously. So, obviously, we need a new control system, and, well, it says we need a new control system. And it looks like, just from what the transfer is, and I don't have any details, you know, and it looks like we're gonna spend $105,000, because we're transferring $30,000 from fence and ground, so we don't need the fence. We're not gonna upgrade the equipment for $30,000, so we don't need to do that. And we don't need the chemicals for an additional $45,000, so I can only assume that those were over budgeted or we don't need them, so that's 105. So, we don't have any itemized list, so, okay, so we just approved that SCAD is gonna be the professional people doing this, but we don't know, are they gonna use 1,000 feet of wire costing $1 a foot, $1,000? Are they gonna need new switches, $10 a switch? What, you know, what are we gonna need, a new panel box? I don't know what we're gonna need for the $105,000 that we're transferring. So, you know, until I get an itemized list of what the $105,000 is gonna be used for, I suggest we freeze this $105,000. So it can't be spent now on the fence in the last 3 months, not on the equipment upgrade in the last 3 months, and not on chemicals in the last 3 months, just so we can spend the money. But find out why we need $105,000. What's the itemized list? Just like if you went to a restaurant, you'd know exactly what you had to pay for each item. You know, and all I'm saying is, you know, we should have a list of why or what this company is gonna buy.
I second that.
No, I agree.
So I make a motion, we table this thing till we get the menu.
I agree.
I agree.
I would agree to table that.
Table.
Okay.
All in favor of tabling it?
Aye.
So carried. Got a resolution to hire a crane for the water treatment plant pumps installation.
I make a motion, we hire the crane. Second.
Discussion?
And I'll tell you why I'm in favor of hiring the crane, because the people in the water department are gonna do all the work themselves. And if you went down when we did the cleaning of the water line, the 2,000-foot water line, you would have seen there were 3 pumps. And if you would have looked at the ceiling, you would see there's big holes in the ceiling with trap doors. And these pumps that need to be replaced can be taken out with a crane and hoisted out. And the people that work in the water department can do all the work and replace these pumps. So I think, you know, in this case, they're saving us quite a bit of money, you know, by doing all the work themselves. We need the crane. We don't have anything the town owns that can, you know, do the job. So I think it's a
the
good
only thing
idea.
they might have to hire out is the electric power.
Well,
You're right, they have to they're gonna get them in there, bolt them in, and take the ones out, so. All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. The resolution for the water wastewater lab professional service agreement.
What are we doing now?
Water based.
okay, I make a motion, we do that.
The other lab is not doing it any longer?
Yeah, they lost their accreditation.
Yeah.
I second.
Any discussion?
How do you
Yeah,
not know this?
there
It's
is
on the
a-
committee.
It appears from the listing we got, just so everybody knows, I added it all up. It looks like it costs $20,162.50 a year to do all the testing we need to do for the water. So if you take those sheets that were supplied to us and add all those numbers up, it comes to $20,162.50. Some tests are done weekly, some tests are done quarterly, some tests are done 1 time a year, and all the prices are there. We've got a list and a menu for this, so I am in favor of this because we do know the cost, what it's gonna cost in a year to do it. So, you know, if you wanna add it up, I already did it for you. It's $20,162.50.
Jason, can I ask you how you knew that information?
It says in the whereas part.
Okay. I don't have the resolution. I can't find
Oh,
it.
sorry. Yeah, but yeah, it's just in the resolution, the whereas.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have a resolution to purchase a grip bin for wastewater plant.
Aye. Make a motion.
This was
The brick thing?
a couple months ago, we brought this up, and we were gonna have the highway department make it, but that's not feasible at this point, so they're gonna purchase one.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So carried. Got a resolution for per diem reimbursement for Chief Schneider, he's out in training.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. I have the resolution to release funds of $5,000, so It's a Wonderful Life Festival Committee.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So carried. I have a resolution to appoint deputy town clerk, deputy tax receiver.
Make a motion.
Second.
Discussion?
Who's leaving?
Okay, all right.
Somebody's leaving, and this is just replacing and filling that vacant position, correct?
Last month you voted to allow Susie
Okay,
to go to the finance department.
gotcha. Okay, I'm just trying. Thank you.
Okay, so I have some discussion on this. Let me get a drink of water. This is gonna take a while. Okay, so in the Seneca County Civil Service rules, there's only one town in Seneca County, and that is Waterloo, that's authorized to have 3 deputy town clerks. And a while back, it appears that somehow the town of Seneca Falls had applied to the County Civil Service Department to get they have 3 town clerks in the rules. Right now, there's only 1 deputy town clerk in the rules for the town of Seneca Falls. So, I got the letter here from the state of New York, from Francis F. Bellevue Jr., who right now is not going to recommend to the Civil Service Commission. Well, he's going to disapprove without prejudice in this case of each town under Seneca County adoption either adopts a local law or a resolution.
This has already been
reference above.
referred to our town attorney.
What's that?
It's already been referred to our town attorney.
Okay, well, I'm just telling you that
I
you
was already
can't,
aware.
you only have 1 deputy town
I
clerk.
have 1 1/4 deputies.
Well, I don't care if you get, a quarter is over 1, so in case you don't know measurements, 1 is 1.
I do know measurements.
All right, all right,
And here's
all right.
the- No, I'm not gonna sit here and let him insult me.
He's talking, you'll get your chance to talk second.
So all I'm saying
Let him
is,
finish
I've
that. You
got,
can
if
talk to your
anybody
mouth.
wants the letter from Civil Service, I've got it here. We're only authorized to have 1 deputy town clerk in Seneca Falls. The only town in the county that's authorized for 3 is the town of Waterloo. And so it hasn't passed the State Civil Service Commission, so we can't have it. We can have the deputy tax collector.
Why do you bring this up now?
Huh?
Excuse me, let him finish talking.
Why am I bringing it up now?
One at a time.
He cuts people off all the time.
Yes, he does.
Well, cut me off, I don't care. You
I do.
can't have
Stop the
3
question.
deputies.
Then I guess the solution is, the office is closed.
Well, you're the elected official, do what you
In
want.
my office, we'll have 3 deputies that are 2 part-time and 1 works 3 hours every day.
Okay.
That's what my office will have. Otherwise, it will be closed. Who'd like to vote?
You will be personally responsible for the wages under civil service law of an illegal
It
appointment.
has
Pat, do
been
you have any comment on
addressed
this?
by our town attorney.
All right,
Just
let the
gonna-
town attorney talk.
I'm just gonna defer to the county, our county civil service people and work with them.
And they referred it back to me.
Yeah. So I'm just I'm gonna follow their lead and
Which
see what
is
they,
the what?
and see what they wanna do with this.
So what do you recommend, the table, do we hear from them?
Yeah, if this is an issue, then that would be, might be the wisest thing to do before we get an employee into a situation that isn't gonna work. So if we need to sort something out with the civil service, we'll start with the county and go from there.
All right, so do I have to make a motion, Frank?
No, but again, I asked a question, why is it an issue now? You've been on the board for how long? Why is it an issue now?
Because we're filling a position that we don't have, and I'll tell you why it's an issue now, because Frank Smitter and I went up to the personnel department a number of weeks ago, and they gave us a list of 68 violations the town had under civil service. And I've been working with Tracy to get all those straightened out, okay?
How many times have you been up to the county, and that's the first time that you asked about violations?
They called us. and
They
told
called us.
We were in violation. come up and see
They
it.
called us to come
And
up.
they haven't reached out to you recently or at any other time before. You have a close working relationship with them. I don't believe it. I don't buy it, Frank. Because you've sat over there and you've called people idiots. You have made other
All right,
statements.
enough.
You are don't you dare.
Enough.
Don't you dare.
You're not
Because
gonna
you
call
do
me
not
idiots.
sit there, you don't
Say
correct
whatever
him.
you want.
You come at me
I correct everybody.
constantly.
It's America.
Don't you dare. America, you don't respect
They
democracy.
called us and asked us to come
You-
see that because of the
Democracy,
violation.
then obviously votes would matter in this room.
All right, let's make a motion.
I make a motion, we table
There was
this
already,
till,
there was a motion on the table, it was motioned and seconded to appoint the person.
yeah, I know, and I can make a motion to table it, which supersedes that
I
motion.
understand that, I'm telling you what is on the table already.
I'm sorry, Melissa, what is currently on the table?
What is currently on the table was the motion to approve the appointment of that person.
Who made the motion?
The motion was made by Mr. Valera and seconded by you.
And now we have a motion to table the motion at this point.
I have a question. So why would it be the employee responsibility, and why would it fall on the employee?
It doesn't,
Well, that's what you said.
it's not at all what I said. I said I'm going to seek guidance from our civil service.
Yeah, you said you didn't want an employee to
I
get
don't want to get
mixed.
an employee and have them be in a bad situation that is going to affect them. I don't want to put somebody into a position and then next week have to say, no, sorry, we can't do this. That's
Would have been
that's
really
all-
nice
that's
to
all I
know
know.
that that was gonna be the case when I did interviews and we promoted somebody. When did you know that that was like, because I wouldn't have let her go. I would have said absolutely not. You're gonna stay in my office and you're gonna deal with your violations.
Can I ask a question? How many people did Nikki have in her office prior?
3.
So what's the difference? I guess we're all confused, I think, probably. I mean, I think we're lost here. How many people were
We
in
explained
office
it, the
then?
civil service called us and told us we were in
So
violation.
Nikki's been in violation for how many years she worked in that office? And no one ever said a word at the county? Till today?
No, it was about.
It's convenient, are you guys confused? No, it's convenient. I mean, I know, I don't know a lot, but I'm very confused. I think I'm sitting. I'm not confused. I think that it's convenient. Unreal that
Look
this just
at, we
came
did
up.
not lie. They
I'm
called
not
us
saying
there
you're
and
lying.
told
I'm
us
not
we were in
saying you're
violation.
lying. I'm trying to understand how many people
Yes,
were in
Tracy.
the office prior.
So the county just hired a new person in order to, his name is Richard Miller. They just hired him at the end of last year in order to review this and start to get this stuff in order. And that is why the violations have been brought up at this point. And then when he found them, then he contacted us to say that there were violations and that they needed to be addressed. So that is why, it's because the county is just now addressing them themselves.
They're just getting caught up when they're trying to unionize, right?
Well, this all happened before that. I mean.
But we're bringing it up now.
In March, I put the resolutions through to allow all of this, and then they disallowed them, and whenever you decided to go find the information, and now it's been referred back to us,
But wait a
and I
minute, Frank,
referred it
weren't
back.
you aware of this before? I mean, didn't you work in personnel at the county?
What's that?
Didn't you work in personnel at the county, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah,
So,
but I
you've
don't,
been sitting on the board how long?
3 years. I don't have the civil service rules until it says it in this letter.
I'm sorry, but you worked at the county, in personnel.
So there's thousands of.
Am I confused? Is that where you work?
You are confused. Yes, you're confused.
But
You're confused.
Okay,
You're confused.
okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify that.
I just want to make sure you're confused.
All right, so we have a motion at this point to table this, so we'll have our town attorney look more into it. Can I have a second? I'll second it. All in favor of tabling it, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
So now back to the appointment of deputy town clerk. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed? Carried 3-2. I have a resolution for remote deposit capture agreement. All motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
I gotta catch up.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. I have a resolution to for correction of June 2024 minutes.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Thank you, Melissa, very much. I appreciate it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. I have a resolution for First Light contract renewal.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. A resolution to accept proposal for landfill consulting services.
Make a motion.
Second.
Discussion?
Do we know how much this is gonna cost the town? We sent questions, but we didn't get any answers.
It's right in your thing, up to $14,000. Right in the resolution.
But before we got our packets, we sent a bunch of questions that we had, and we didn't get any answers to them.
Any further discussion?
What are the questions you want to know?
How much it cost? It's right here.
We try to prepare
$14,000.
ourselves for board meetings.
I asked how much it was gonna cost, how long are we gonna need them, what are they gonna do? You know, why do we need them to negotiate for us? Why? Like, we had questions, I had several questions I emailed everyone, and no one answered.
Oh, okay, I can answer all those questions for you.
Well, why didn't we answer them in the email when I sent them last week?
Well, because
I attached all the stuff with
that's
it
why.
in the email of what they were going to do. There's pages of it here. So it's all attached. Any discussion? Further? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I have a resolution to propose local law providing for public hearing, Article 14, solar energy system.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
The local laws, are those the materials that we tried, I don't know, 9 months ago? Where does all that stand? I know that some of it's sprinkled in here, that's like beefed up, and either one of you guys kind of.
Pat, you want to answer?
About the proposed solar law. So there's a number of amendments. Again, this came through, so this comes through the planning committee. There's a number of amendments. Most of them have to do with emergency management, things like that. We've also introduced a requirement for, as part of the decommissioning plan, at the end of the useful life of these types of installations, there's a decommissioning plan that goes into it to return a solar farm back into, something suitable for agricultural use. We've also taken that and then increased the level of detail in our code, including provision to require recycling, that recycling would be a part of.
Were those pieces modeled from the Niagara County?
Yes,
Okay.
so we're trying to introduce that component into our code. But it is mostly geared towards really taking a local law from another community that our consultant has worked closely with, and he saw a lot of things that, hey, this would make sense to introduce into the Seneca Falls Code. And it was mostly emergency management, and then we also introduced that recycling component.
Okay. Aside from that, what about the consideration with the escrow accounts, all of, there were the other things I had
Yeah.
done research on. Where does all that stand?
So at this point, this is what we were able to get something into the code that makes sense. You know, we're not done, but this was just something, we were at a spot where we wanted to get this in front of the board, say this is the direction we want to go in, and get something, you know, just like, well, just about every month we have something coming out of that committee. This was just something that we had thought was close to completion. We wanted to get in front of the board, get the public hearing scheduled, and, you know, we're continuing to look at everything.
So are we going to have something in place for Delaware?
Well,
because I'm concerned that they're going to have
I understand.
the largest solar farm
I
out
understand
there.
what you're saying, but it's unlikely that the town solar code is going to have much of an impact on the state review of a solar farm of that
But we
size.
couldn't have an escrow account in place requiring them to put up $3 million, for instance, in escrow.
Through the state, I don't know that that would even be possible through the state citing procedure. I mean, they have their own requirements.
Why not? I believe another community did it.
I mean, that's what we're looking into.
In this, it does kind of say that there's like, it doesn't seem like much, but like some sort of bond that gets given to the town at the beginning of it in case something goes wrong where they just completely abandon ship. It seems like we would get some money from it, but it doesn't seem like it would make it,
It's, you know, my biggest concern is really it comes down to that the town doesn't have a lot of control, if any control. So it was when I did do the research early on, you know, speaking to the contacts that I did through Gallian's office, you know, they provided really great resources, and I'm very happy to see the things that were added to the code. I just think that there were some other things too that I just hope that we can continue to work on that could provide potentially some leverage for us with these companies coming in. If there's even like a small glimmer at all, because I understand with Governor Cuomo and that act, and it really screwed the
And
towns.
every municipality is in the same boat, everyone. So we have our solar code. It's written to address projects between 5 megawatts and the ones that we're familiar with, okay, the ones we've seen in our community. The large ones, like the one on the west side of Waterloo and the one that we're dealing with the initial parts of a proposal in this community, that is going to be determined by the state. And our code is not going to have much of an impact on that entire review process with the state. So, like I said, these large projects, every municipality is in the same boat where the state has really been dictating how things go and trying to have some type of input and some type of impact on that whole review process is something that every community is working
So
towards.
my other question is Delaware River able to comply with the decommissioning plan that the town is going to be able to set in place? Is that something that they're going to have to comply
When you
with?
say Delaware River, do you mean the existing one, or do you mean the proposal? The large-scale
The
proposal?
large-scale proposal.
Well, that is, I mean, decommissioning is a part of every state review. So just like we have, they will have the same thing. It's just the town itself may not be
They're not
entirely in control of it, okay? That it's gonna, there will be a decommissioning plan, and it will be funded usually by a bond or some type of insurance policy. But that's gonna be dictated by the state. So, but there will be something in place for sure. That's a part of every.
But I thought it was my understanding that they're finding it nearly impossible to find landfills or other areas to even accept.
Right, and the recycling market,
Right.
probably,
Like the
they're
wind
looking at
turbines, for
recycling these
instance.
things 25 years from now, and are doing it all on an assumption that there's going to be a recycling market and recycling facilities, and all that. But, there's no, there are not many 25-year-old solar farms
No, they're about
that
8 years
need
old.
to be decommissioned. So, we're all kind of jumping off into the abyss here, but that is the state of this industry. So, if the market develops, I'm sure the industry will develop along with it. But right now, there's a lot of ifs. There's just
Thank you.
So we have a motion to have a public
I
hearing.
got a question.
Oh, go ahead.
So all solar farms, 5 megawatts or less, will have to conform to this in the town, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Even if they're in existence?
The ones that, well, this is dictating what their plan's gonna be. So the ones that are existing, they already have their plans.
Oh,
They already have their stuff. I mean, it's all, and all the decommissioning plans and all of the existing solar farms, they were reviewed. We had the fire department included in our review. We asked them for comments. We wanted to make sure, they can get their trucks and turn around and do all that stuff. So it's not like this stuff was ignored. It's just, this is now formally part of the whole process.
So we have a motion to have the public hearing on November 5th at 6 o'clock.
Make a motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. The resolution retain legal and environmental consultants for DEIS.
I make a motion, wait, make a motion? I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So carried. For the resolution, you get to do the date on this, right? November 6th, November 5th. So on this resolution, yeah. So we have a resolution not to exceed the 2% tax levy imposed by general municipal law. Be a public hearing on the resolution that says November 6th. We're going to amend that to November 5th, 2024. This does not mean the taxes will go up. It's just, it's kind of crazy because everybody just does it. So I don't know why the state made the rule, but. Can I have
Make a motion, we adopt the not to exceed the 2% tax levy limit.
This is scheduling it
For the hearing
for a public hearing.
on November 5th. Have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
So we're just doing this as a precaution?
Every town does it, so I'm not sure why.
It's just a routine yearly thing
I don't know why
that,
the state makes the rules.
precautionary purposes, doesn't necessarily mean that
Because
we
it's
do, but
Because it's a local law, it's required to have a public
Yes.
hearing, which means we need to know one meeting ahead of time. So
Yeah, we did.
you guys are about to sit down next week and start putting the budget together, and you don't know how that's gonna turn out, till month from now, so we wanna get everything lined up.
Understood. Thank you.
All in favor?
I,
Opposed? So carried. The resolution here for the town public recreational park study.
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
Discussion. I will say, we do have a gentleman that did have interest in possibly buying 2 Fall Street and one at 10 Fall Street also to make it for assisted senior living housing. At this point, I did tell him we were looking into doing a park study at this point. And if now that feasibility came out, we would reach back out to him if it didn't work out.
I guess my question is, how's a board member, the supervisor, and 2 town employees qualified to do a study versus having MRB or BNL? Somebody else.
MRB's already involved. I've been talking to Matt, they're gonna help us out. Yeah, it did get typed in here, but we would be using MRB as engineer firm to help us with it.
So we need to add that to this resolution then right?
Well, I mean, we'll be the committee, and with the study, we can, yeah, we can add MRB. So make a resolution, add MRB as part of the group to help us design this and figure out what if it's feasible or not.
Is it too late to have something acres?
That's a whole subject.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. I mean, I know that we talked about I would really like to see kids' territory be expanded. I can certainly talk with the community about this more so, but I'm ready to go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Other resolution, select preferred qualifications for engineer firm to conduct stormwater sewer infiltration study.
Make a
We
motion.
awarded a grant to do this.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Have a resolution to adopt the proposed local law number 3 of 2024, creation of the Department of Public Works. Have a
Make a motion that we table this.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I kind of want to know more about like who's going to be in charge, how many positions it's going to be, how much money is going to be budgeted. I don't want to put the cart before the horse and just.
Yeah, Jackson, I have to agree. I mean, similarly with, just like last month, I mean, with the permit, there's a lot of information, there's a lot of things that we have to sort through, there's a lot of unanswered questions, and I'm not prepared to make a vote on the development of this department, and until all of those questions are answered, I'm not prepared to make a vote on this, so I'm just making a motion to table this until next month.
So if we table this, I just want people to know in town, we will not get your drainage issues resolved. We do not have anybody at this point to do that. If we don't get a group to go out there and fix the problems, it's going to keep happening. So I'm working my best to get it done. This board votes it down. It is what it is, okay? But right now, we have nobody to go out there and dig a ditch and fix a drain in this town.
Well, why aren't you answering questions?
We have a highway
I'm answering
department.
questions right now.
You're not answering questions.
Highway
You're
department
answering
is
questions.
not doing it.
You're making statements that.
They don't
I'm
dig
telling you,
ditches?
that's what
The
it
highway
is.
department
They're
doesn't
digging
dig
a ditch
ditches?
out on Fairwell.
We don't have the equipment to do the job.
Well, then
We
rent it.
cannot dig deep enough.
Well, you're right.
I would just like it known that I send
Great,
emails and they're not
great.
answered, so.
Maybe couldn't have town come in and do it. Come on, people.
Yeah, you go by it.
Okay, so right now, we have a motion to table it. All in favor of table it?
I mean, I'm not putting down our highway department and our water and sewer people, but are they even skilled enough to do it? Let's be honest, are we gonna have to hire engineers outside of here to do some of the work? Because
That's why we're trying to
we're
create
talking
this.
about serious issues on Hugo Street, State Street, and so
Miller
forth.
Street, Johnson Street.
Literally, my husband redid all of Hugo Street, and the town board had an opportunity at that point. They came here when they were doing that construction, the sidewalks were up, the streets were up, and they said, you sure you don't wanna fix the sewer now? No, they didn't. So all of that was up and apart, all the way up. So we're not gonna be able to have just them fix this, in Jeremy's defense. I mean, and we probably don't have enough people. We're gonna have to hire somebody from outside to do some of it. I mean, it's not feasible for them. We probably don't even have all the equipment.
I've already talked to engineers from Miller Street. We have a plan to go behind those houses, to town can do 80% of it, and then we'll need to hire a company to do the last 20% because it gets quite deep there digging. But the first 7, 8 houses, we can put the pipe behind it, we should be able to, and get it done. That's why I want to create this, I want to get it done.
But if you create that, and then you're gonna create a union, how are you gonna have non-union work members working in union members? To me, that's a conflict right there. Because if I dig a hole and I'm a union.
Unions are different now, the whole town does not have to be unionized. It's not like it was years ago. If half the town wants to be union, they could be union, the other half does not have to be.
Oh, since when did it happen?
All right, so we're table, we have a motion, table, second table. All in favor, table, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Good.
Table it for 1 month, right?
I mean, I can't hire people till we have the thing. I'm not gonna promise someone a job if we don't pass it, so nothing's gonna happen for the month. All right,
What is that supposed to mean? Are you making promises to people for jobs?
no, we're gonna have to hire people, yes, to run it. That's part of when you.
I realize that, but we shouldn't be having discussions with anybody about hiring. Hopefully
At
you're
this
not.
point, I'm gonna make a motion to go to executive session, discuss and limit it to,
So Frank, I had that one extra resolution for a local law for public hearing.
okay, yeah, I'm sorry.
Let me just talk about it.
Yeah.
So the resolution I distributed earlier would set a public hearing.
Hold on.
Thank you. We set a public hearing for next month to amend our code related to historic preservation. The second page, it contains the existing section 173 and then adds language that has to do with the exceptions. Basically every work being done in the historic district requires a certificate of appropriateness. This outlines the procedure. There are exceptions for maintenance and repairs. So the determination of whether something falls into maintenance and repairs and would not need a certificate of appropriateness. This outlines the procedure where our zoning officer would work with the chair of the Heritage Preservation Commission and get that worked out in a timely manner so people can get their building permits quicker if it's something that doesn't need full review by the Heritage Preservation Commission. So that's what the purpose of this is for, and this would set the public hearing at next month's meeting.
Thank you, Pat. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. At this point, I'm gonna make a motion, go to executive session for the discussion related to proposed pending or current litigations. Can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
I invite the entire town board and our town attorney at this time. There'll be no, all in favor, going to executive session.
Aye.
There'll be no action when we come out.
Take care, buddy.